What is smart? Is this smart? How about this? Am I smart? Unlike the majority of people, I would personally consider clean running water and electricity in every room to be pretty darn smart, but most people aren't satisfied until you slap a 4-letter word onto it. I of course mean Wi-Fi. Regular bin, smart bin. Regular rice, smart rice. Regular bike, smart bike. Regular person, smart person. On this episode of Mellow Labs, I wanted to make a smart faucet with adjustable heat temperature, but somehow my landlord found out about it and she said that if I touch any of the plumbing, she'll slap me with an eviction notice. So instead, we'll be converting our door lock to a smart lock. And not just by writing Wi-Fi on it. Supported by the good people at Patreon. By the way, this is a car I'm restoring. If you want to be one of the sponsors on it, support me on Patreon.
This is the lock in question. It does its job, it's a lock. I kind of hate its geometry because it's got like edges and it's smooth and it's rounded. It bugs me in all the wrong ways. So to start with, I'm gonna 3D scan it with my phone so that I can design something to properly fit around it. I'll be using the photo mode in Polycam to actually scan it. Yeah, so that looks horrible. So I should have thought about this, but I didn't. It's reflective, and that just confuses all of the algorithms. So I'm gonna do something to make this not as reflective. My idea might not be the smartest, but I covered it in a whiteboard marker pen, and let's see if it works. It's processing. You know what? That actually looks really good. Like better than I would have expected with just whiteboard marker. Okay, so let's bring this into Fusion and we can play around with it there. Here we are inside of Fusion. I've already imported my mesh. I've already designed stuff. I'll just walk you through what I did. First of all, I imported the servo that I'll be using. I'm using the largest servos I have just because I think it needs that extra amount of strength just to be able to open the door. This is a prototype version just for me to print out and see whether it actually works. This is why it looks so rough and I don't have a place for a microcontroller yet. We'll add all that in the next iteration if this works properly. From there, I just designed the gears that interact with each other. If I turn off this, you can see this just has a slot for the knob to fit into, and the other one just has a cutout for the servo arm to fit into, and then I can just screw it in from the bottom. Let's get these rough designs printed out and see if it actually works. And with that, we have everything we need to get started. I've got it assembled, the servo works fine, everything fits together nicely. Let's go and put it on the door. That should fit there, and that should fit there. And that's actually like a perfect fit. I'm impressed. Right, let's attach this to the door using my favorite method, hot glue. I'm using hot glue because it's not permanent. I can remove it easily with like isopropyl alcohol and it won't leave any marks. Let's give that a minute to cool down. Let's plug it back into my servo tester. That seems pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, that's actually pretty decent. I wanna see if I can still use the key. Yeah, it works separately, it works with it. You know what? Yeah, that works much better than I expected it to. So let's go and make a version 2 with a microcontroller and everything. I have to remove this version first. I'll use hot glue. It's easy to remove, he said. Version 2 is hot off the printer, so let's put it together. First, I'm putting screw inserts into the holes. I didn't want to put screws directly into the plastic. It didn't hold the servo in very well on the previous iteration. That's hot. That was the dumbest shit I've done yet. What the hell was I thinking? I've got a ring on my finger now, and not in a good way.
As always, I'm using a D1 Mini to control everything, and that fits in right here. But first, I need to solder on the connections from the servo. I'm actually going to reuse the gears I made for the prototype version because, well, I already got the spacing right and they work. Why should I waste more filament? And that's it, it's all put together. Now I just have to put some code on it, and I will of course be using ESP Home because it integrates with Home Assistant, so mwah. I'll see you after that's done. Oh, good morning. Did you know that programming, hold on, let me just... Did you know setting up servos inside of Home Assistant is really annoying? You have to do like 3 different things. First, you have to set up the ESP Home code, which is simple enough. Then you need to edit the automation file. You have to restart the Home Assistant server, and then you have to add an automation script. All so you can get this little slider that moves the servo. Why is that so complicated? It should not be this complicated. Rant aside, let's go and install this on my door. Let's see if we can speed run this.
And just like that, it's installed, and now I have a button on Home Assistant that opens and closes the door.
Wouldn't it be nice if everything just worked perfectly after that point? It would, wouldn't it? It fried the microcontroller because apparently like the servo pulls like 2 amps, and for some reason the voltage regulator on this was like, I can't deal with that, I'm just gonna die. So it died, and I didn't know why it died, so then I put in a new one and I was like, oh cool, it works again. And then it died. So now it's a little bit more complicated. We've got a USB port that goes into the voltage regulator, which then goes to the D1 Mini and the servo. And I've been testing it, and it seems to be doing okay. It hasn't died yet. I had to change the design of the servo holder. It now has a place to put all the new components, and it looks a little bit more open source. It's very reminiscent of the controller for my curtains. So, like before, I need to add in the heat inserts, and hopefully not burn my finger this time. So the standoffs I got are technically for injection molding, which I didn't know about. So they don't go into 3D prints correctly. They like to pull the plastic inside, and they like gank up the threads, and then you can't put a screw in. I find if you just remove one of the textured sides, it helps a lot. CNC Kitchen has a great video on the different kinds of heat insert threads you can get. Don't buy these ones. These ones rank by far as the worst ones on all of the lists. But I'm currently going through a bit of a shortage of money, so I want to use these up. Support me on Patreon. Good news, I have successfully resisted the urge to poke a very, very hot thing. It still works. Okay. Let's get it installed. Right, it's finally installed. Open. Close. It works! And it didn't burn out yet. Do you feel hot? Do you feel like you're gonna burn out? It doesn't feel like it's gonna overheat, so that's good. I guess time will tell. And with that, thanks for tuning into Mellow Labs. Subscribe, comment below, support me on Patreon. Goodbye. I swear, if that broke just then, that would have been hilarious.